Winging It is taking a look at local theater productions this weekend as we gear up for Curtain Up. From lights to costumes to music, our next preview of Three Sisters has it all. Set in Washington, D.C. during the political turbulence of 1969, Three Sisters is the story of three sisters as they gather for a third year in a row for a funeral. Now we're joined by three members of the Paul Robeson Theater and the artistic director today. We have Paulette, we have Felicia, Annette, and Mary all joining us to give us a little preview of this very interesting performance. Now, why don't we get into it and talk a little bit more about what the show is all about? We kind of had a little brief overview, but what's at the heart of this show?
I would say the bonding of the family and how sisters come to rely on each other in a light of such turbulent time and such a difficult time as a funeral. You know, anytime you have funerals come together, there are different things that happen, but the most important is that they come together and they bond, and the love that they share between each other just stands out.
Now, one of the things I love about theater, and one of the things that I know that the Paul Robeson Theater is all about, is generating conversation. Now, Mary, do you think this show is going to have people walking away and really talking about the issues at hand?
Well, we certainly hope so. You know, this isn't the first time we did this show. We did it a couple of years ago, and there was really some amazing conversation, particularly around women who have sisters. They were familiar with the conversation because they've had it before. They were familiar with the circumstances because they had been there before. So we have no doubt that it's going to do exactly the same thing.
Now, Felicia, what current issues does this play sort of relate to? I know we're always talking about what's happening in the news, and theater can put a spotlight on that. Are we sort of making comparisons to culture right now?
I believe we do. We are making comparisons to cultures right now because, you know, like the play is evolved around three sisters and bringing that bond back together again, and it's still those issues going on now, you know, with the culture now, that trying to get the family back together again, whether it's through a funeral or through a celebration. So I believe it's.
Now, a lot of the educated theater goers out there are going to notice that the title is a little callback to Anton Chekhov's Three Sisters. Now, are there similarities, or is it just sort of a play on words?
It's loosely based on that. There are some similarities, but of course with this version, the music is rich, deep, and Anton Chekhov didn't have music. Our music is rich and deep, and we have three of the most wonderful singers in the city of Buffalo. And as you know, the Paul Robeson Theater is the oldest theater in Western New York. So we have a lot of good history on stage.
Now, Annette, tell me a little bit about how the cast is interacting with each other.
Oh, we love each other. We fight. We laugh. We cry. We bond.
Now, when the audience members are done watching the theater and they're kind of recapping on the show, what is the one thing that you really want them to walk away with?
You know what? I'd like them to go home if they've got a sister at home. Go talk to their sister.
Yes.
Or better still, go bring their sister to the next show so they can experience it together. I find that when people have told us that they've done that, and many people have, it just makes me feel really good, like we're doing something much more than just doing a show.
And, you know, we just talked that it is a little bit of a callback to Anton Chekhov's Three Sisters. Now, from watching the show, seeing that show, you kind of, it's a little heartbreaking, but it's also filled with a little bit of hope for something better. Is that very similar to Three Sisters?
Yes, it is.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? It's life.
Yes.
Right? You know how you have bad times and you have good times all within the space of seconds? So, especially in families.
Yes.
So if you are laughing and arguing with your sister, and then the next thing you're giving her a hug or trying to give her some food because you know that's what you do. It's very, very symbolic of how you live your life.
Now, we're going to pull up a panel real quick to make sure that the dates are all right there in front of you. Just remind us one more time when this is happening and where the Paul Robeson Theater is.
Paul Robeson Theater is located on Maston Avenue, 350 Maston Avenue, and the dates are September 20th through October 13th. We invite each and every one of you to come out and support our theater. If you haven't been there, make this your first. We promise when you leave, you will be excited, happy, and smiling. There's a lot of laughs, smiles, tear-jerkers. You'll enjoy it. It's a great time.
And of course, there's nothing quite like the experience of seeing live theater. I implore you all to go out and see some great things that are happening with Curtain Up. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
And right now, we are heading back into the Kitchen World Kitchen.